Hello friend, how are you? I am Advocate Gaurav Kumar Gupta. I am Chartered Accountant and MBA Finance and PhD holder. My project Derivative Market Future Trend Analysis. आज हम रीडिंग ड्राफ्टिंग एंड कन्वेंसिंग से रिलेटेड एप्लीकेशन को बता रहे हैं. एप्लीकेशन ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ डिफेंडेंट अंडर ऑर्डर 37 रूल 3 clause 5. Read with section 151 of CPC from leave to defend the suit. तो इसका इन द कोर्ट ऑफ सीनियर सब जज लिखेंगे अंडर ऑर्डर 37 ऑफ कोड ऑफ सिविल प्रोसीजर. उसके बाद देखेंगे ABC प्लेंटिफ वर्सेस DEF डिफेंडेंट. मोस्ट रिस्पेक्टफुली सिवेथ. पहला पॉइंट लिखेंगे डैट द एप्लीकांट या डिफेंडेंट काउंसिल हैज बीन सर्व्ड विथ समन्स फॉर जजमेंट इन द एबव सूट ऑन डॉट. दूसरा पॉइंट लिखेंगे डैट द एप्लीकांट या डिफेंडेंट क्रव लीव टू डिफेंड द सेट सूट ऑन द ग्राउंड एंड रीजन स्टेटेड इन द accompanying affidavit. तीसरा पॉइंट लिखेंगे इट इज देयरफॉर रिस्पेक्टफुली प्रेयर दैट दिस ऑनेबल कोर्ट may be pleased to grant. तीसरा पॉइंट में 1 और 2 पॉइंट दे के लिखेंगे ग्रांट एंड अनकंडीशनल लीव टू डिफेंड टू एबव सूट फॉर द रीजन सेट फोर्थ इन द accompanying affidavit. दूसरा पॉइंट में पास एनी अदर फर्दर ऑर्डर डीम ए फिट एंड प्रॉपर इन द फैक्ट एंड सर्कमस्टांसेस ऑफ द केस. डिफेंडेंट नंबर 4 in himself on behalf defendant. Now notes 1, 2, 3 and 5 दो काउंसिल्स. प्लेस लिखेंगे फिर डेट लिखेंगे. उसके बाद हैप्पी डेबिट में इन द कोर्ट ऑफ इन रजिस्टर ABC प्लेंटिफ वर्सेस डिफेंडेंट. उसके बाद लिखेंगे लॉफुल अटर्नी ऑफ डिफेंडेंट नोज 1, 2, 3 and 5 डू हेयर बाई सोलमली affirms and declares agenda. पहला पॉइंट लिखेंगे डैट थ्रू द सर्विस ऑन डिफेंडेंट फॉर समन फॉर जजमेंट इज नॉट प्रॉपर्टी डन एंड प्रोवाइड अंडर ऑर्डर 37 रूल 3 clause 4 which makes the service of summon for judgment OD defendant mandatory. For ready reference order 37 rule 3 clause 4 is reproduced as follow. तीसरा पॉइंट देखें प्रोसीजर फॉर द apprehension ऑफ डिफेंडेंट. इफ द डिफेंडेंट enters an appearance the plaintiff shall thereafter serve on the defendant a summons for judgment in form number 4A in appendix B such other form as may be prescribed from time to time returnable not less than 10 days from the date of service supported by an affidavit verifying the cause of action and lie amount claimed and stating that in his belief there is no defense to the suit. But in the interest of justice, in order to avoid future complications, this application for leave to defend has been filed. What the defendant have very good prima facie defense and tribal issue are exiting therefrom. This point that the plaintiff company is not duly incorporated and is not empowered to conduct the alleged transaction stated in the plaint. Chotha point that the plaint has not been signed, verified, instituted and presented by duly authorized person on behalf of plaintiff, that the alleged Sri is not a person officer of plaintiff and is not duly authorized to file the present suit, that the honorable court has no territorial jurisdictions to entertain any claim the present suits against the defendant, that Sri are not liable whatsoever jointly or severally severely to create any liability, affirm, confirm any liability or alleged liability for and behalf of defendant number 1 to 3. 7 point that the suit is bad for misjoinder and non-joinder of party. 8वां point लिखेंगे the that the negotiation terms and condition alleged to have been taken place by defendant number 4, 5 and on behalf of dot as authorized declares the unauthorized dealers for marketing to product of plaintiff are not at all binding in any way fact QO defendant number 1 and 1 to 5. Any alleged request any alleged request for the appointment of lie plaintiff dealers instead of instead of के बदले that is wrong and is not binding on dependent. Normal point है कि that the alleged hundis are insufficiently and improperly stamped and are not admissible in evidence and no decree can be passed against defendant on the basis of alleged hundis. The 10 point लिखेंगे 10 point में that there is no written contract enter into between the parties. 11 point that the alleged confirmation for minutes dated on behalf of defendant is totally illegal and not binding on the defendant. None of the defendant any authorized person on behalf of the defendant have signed confirmed the alleged minutes. The same has not evidentiary value. No claim whatsoever can be entertained against the defendant. 12वां में लिखे हैं that any default non-fulfillment of any commitment by defendant number 4 does not give any right to plaintiff to give notice file any suit against the defendant on the basis of alleged commitment, the contents of alleged notice stated and the fact alleged in the complaint are contradictory in its way, these are contrary, no decree can be passed. That any commitment, any assurance given by bank is not binding on the defendant, the said bank has no authority to make any commitment to give any assurance on behalf of defendant. The said commitment and assurance are not binding. No assurance whatsoever was given by defendant by any persons by person duly authorized by them. Any claim whatsoever on basis of alleged commitment assurance alleged to have been given by the defendant by any authorized person is totally false, is of no effect. 14 point that the claim tile tile plaintiff is contradictory to what has been made and shown in the plaint with that shown in the copies of alleged notice alleged notice sent by the plaintiff on their behalf. 15 point made that the defendant are not at all liable to pay the alleged amount or 24% interest in the absence of written contract, nor are liable to pay future interest as prior in the plaint and alleged to have been accrued accrued thereon. The claim of lie plaintiff is untenable under order 37 and is liable to be dismissed. The plaintiff has no cause of action against the defendant and the suit is liable to be dismissed. 16 point में लिखेंगे that the claim made in the plaint is not covered the provision of order 37 CPC. The present suit is thus not maintainable and is liable to be dismissed. 17 point में that the defense state herein above disclose a very good defense raises tribal issue which cannot be discharged without getting proper hearing and opportunity to the defendant such as filing the written statement etc. 18 point made that the plaintiff has not filed all the document which has been stated and alleged in plaint in original otherwise and such no proper application for leave for defend under 37 can made that the deponent reserve his right to make amendment in the leave to defend affidavit as and when documents are supplied. The present application is made with a view to avoid further applications such as limitation etc. That the contents mentioned herein above have been drafted by May Council upon my instruction, which are true, correct to my belief and knowledge. Deponent verification verified dot on this day of dot that the content to paras 1 to 90 of May above affidavit are true and correct to my knowledge. No part of is false and nothing has been cancelled therefore deponent. अगले वीडियो में हम आपको rejoinder by the plaintiff to the reply on behalf of the defendant in the application filed by the plaintiff under order 39 rule 1 and 2 of the rule 1 and rule 2 of the CPC civil procedure code read with section 115 thereof के बारे में जिक्र करेंगे। आज का वीडियो यहीं पे वाइप आउट कर रहे हैं। डेट्स ऑल।